So today we will learn how to import contacts into HubSpot. If you're a publisher or any website owner for that matter, there is a very fat possibility that you have multiple people who you want to stay in touch with. These could be your advertisers, these could be your partners, potential people, right? So the best way of keeping all of this data together of the people that you should be getting in touch with or you would need to get in touch with or already are in touch with is using a CRM. One of the CRMs that I have personally found really useful is HubSpot. So if you have to set up a HubSpot account and therefore go ahead and import your contacts into HubSpot, how would you do that? Let's quickly dive in and let's start from creating a HubSpot account itself. So if you will see, this is an email ID that I own. I will straight away go to HubSpot.com. I could potentially Google search and go to HubSpot as well. Let's click on Get Started for free. Now here you will see you have two options. You can continue with Google or you can sign up with your Microsoft account if you would like to do that. This case, I usually prefer to input the email ID manually. So as you can see, I have my email ID open here. So I'm just going to input that at krati.com. Another good point that you should keep in mind is if you're using a CRM like HubSpot, it is always good to use an email ID which has been given to you by your organization. So in this case, you would see that this is not a generic Gmail ID. It's an ID which says krati.com. It's an organization that I work for. So let's click on Verify Email ID. As you can see that it will say, go check your email. Let's go back into the email and see. And very well, HubSpot has sent a verification code. I'm going to pick up this verification code and I'm hoping it pastes here, and that is done. Go ahead and click on next. In case you don't get an email, there is always an option of requesting another one. We'll go ahead and create a password. And there are some rules around the kind of password that you can create. So make sure that you have subscribed to those rules. Go ahead and click on next. Now it's going to ask you for your name. And the interesting thing with HubSpot is, you can work across your organization. So if you have created the account, you can go ahead and invite other team members also. So I'll go ahead and put my name here. Have you used HubSpot before? Yes or no? I have. So I'm just going to click on yes. Do you know the problems you want to solve with HubSpot? Yes, because what we are essentially going to be doing is just uploading our contacts and seeing how we can interact with those contacts. So I'm going to click yes here. Which industry you are in. So very interestingly, HubSpot does pick up from your domain ID. So I am indeed into broadcasting media. So I'm going to click on broadcasting media. In case your industry is not picked up, this is not a very big deal. You can click on not right and search all industries here. So we'll go ahead and click on broadcasting media. What describes your role? Let's go and we'll click on manager. It's going to ask you for the company name, which it has picked up from your domain. So I'm going to click on next. How many people work? We are close to about 30 people. It's going to ask you for the website. It's fantastic. We'll go and put this. Where would you like the data to be hosted? So HubSpot gives you an option of where you want your data to be stored. So if we are going to be uploading all our contacts, it's going to be staying somewhere on the servers of HubSpot. So where do you want that? US, EU? It is going to obviously give you a recommendation, which is based on where you are. It is recommending that US is the right thing to do. So we'll go ahead and create that, and that's it. The account is ready. In fact, it's going to ask, which of these is like you. So I'm going to say that I'm new to HubSpot, but I've used a CRM before, just so that in case there are more introductory steps, you can go through it. So we can click on that. And we can choose a template to set up faster, but we're just going to set everything up manually. Now, this is one of the ways that you could potentially add contacts if you have them really top of your mind. You can see that it's just going to give you an option right when you set up the account to add your contacts. Let's say that I have a friend. His name is Nishit. And his last name is Shah. His email ID is nish@krati.com. Let's say that. And Nishit is, let's say his job title is, he's the marketing manager. and I have, let's say, another friend. His name, for the sake of this video, let's call him Kostav, and we are gonna give him a surname as Singh and kost@krati.com. We're gonna put that, and his job title is video editing. So the moment I click on continue, you will see that those people will be added as contacts. So that is one way of doing it. I'm not going to add any other teammate. So let's skip for now. And there you see you're logged into HubSpot, and it's going to give you some of these prompts if you would like HubSpot to guide you how to go about things. We can close that. Yes, let's close the tour. We don't need it. But this is precisely what, again, this is just going to give you some bunch of prompts. You can click on don't show hints and that will go away. So if you remember, these are the two contacts that when we had just started using HubSpot, we had put from literally top of the mind. And both of those contacts are here. So you can see their email IDs. The contact owner is unassigned, primary company is unassigned, and you also see the time at which these contacts have been created. So this was created at 5:54 p.m. So you see that it has automatically picked up my time zone. So in this case, this is GMT plus 530. And now in case you want to make a change here, so in case you want to add a phone number, there are two ways of doing it. I can just open Kostav's card. So as you can see, this is what a contact card looks like. This hosts all the information about Kostav here. So if I want to put his phone number, let's say he's based out of India. So I'm going to choose the India code, which is +91. And I'm going to add his phone number. Let's say his number is 98775 67890. Right? And I'm going to apply it. Once you have done that, you can save the contact. So essentially here what you have is everything that you want to add about a contact, you can keep adding in the contact card itself. You can add what company he works for, and you will see the activity timeline also here. Activity timeline is a very interesting concept, and it is absolutely at the heart of how you are interacting with any contact on HubSpot. We'll probably have a video for you on activity timeline as well. But now in this case, I have created Kostav's contact. So the contact owner you see is going to be me. Now, if you remember at the start of the video, I had told you, you have the option of adding multiple team members also on HubSpot. So let's say if I also invite my colleague into HubSpot, say her name is Sheetal, and if Sheetal is a part of my team, here you will have the option to set different contact owners. So what this allows to do is Kostav is my contact, and it's very, very important for sales or some of those processes where you have to attribute a lead to somebody. And if Sheetal is gonna add a contact, then this should become Sheetal's name, right? And anytime you make a change, remember in the contact card, you have to click on save, because this does not auto save. It's extremely important. This is a mistake I've made many times where I've gone to a contact card, I've really made the contact card very rich, and then I have just not saved and exited. So this will not auto save. So we go back to the contact card, and here you will see that Kostav's phone number has also come. Also the contact owner has come. Contact owner is essentially in a very simple way, if you have to understand who is the person who's bought this contact or who's responsible for this contact, right? And if now this is a screen which will host all your different contacts. This is, if you go into HubSpot, you log into HubSpot, this is ideally the screen that you want to see up front, right? In case you're not on this screen, how do you come to this screen? Very simple. Click on this contacts, which is usually going to be on the top left of your screen, and click on the contacts button. It is going to bring you right here. Now there's another way, another very interesting view, which is to look at your own contact. So in this case, I know that Kostav is my contact. So if I have to only filter by the contacts that are my own, I just have to click on my contacts. So this was a way to add contacts when we are running through the initial setup wizard. right? Now the setup wizard is gone. So I still want to add more contacts because, hey, these were just these 2 contacts that I had from the top of my mind. I have a lot more contacts who I want to add into HubSpot. So how do we do that? Go back into contacts. You have this button called import. So you will click on import. Now it is going to give you 2 different options, which is you can import a contact, a company, deal, ticket, or different product information into HubSpot directly, or you can sync it with some other app also. Now, the way to understand this is HubSpot works in a way where one of the objects of HubSpot is contacts, right? Now think of it this way, one of the objects is contacts. There is another object which is company. There is another object called deals. These are, think of them as individual entities that exist within HubSpot, though they can be connected together because a contact will have a company and a contact will therefore also be a part of your deal. How to set up and how to work between these different objects is something that we'll talk about in some other video. For now, let's get our attention back to importing. Now, as I said, I have an Excel prepared where I have a lot of contacts, all of which I want to import into HubSpot. So I'm going to click on Start and Import. Now, there you see there are 3 different options. Import a file from computer, import an opt-out list, or repeat a past import. So an import you have already made, but then some data has gone wrong. You want to reuse it. You can do that. So I am going to ideally import a file from the computer. But if you're new here and if you're doing this process for the first time, I very highly recommend HubSpot has written what is called an import guide. So if you just open that in HubSpot Academy, you will see a complete overview of importing data into the CRM. This is an absolute step-by-step process. This is something that I would recommend if you're an absolute beginner, you've never used a CRM before, you should potentially try to do that. Now, what we want to do is, because you're already watching this video, so the assumption is you know this, we are going to import a contact list from the computer itself, right? This could be any CSV, XLS, XLSX, basically any Excel-based file if you have ready and you want to import into your CRM, this is how you would do it. I would click on this, right? And in case you do not have a format ready or there is, you would want HubSpot to help you with a format, there is an option to download a sample spreadsheet also. So if you just click on this, a sample spreadsheet will come in one of the HubSpot's knowledge-based articles. What you have to do is, so this is pretty much everything that you need to know about importing any kind of object. But what you have to do is scroll absolutely to the bottom of this list and you will see contact sample spreadsheet right here. So if you don't have a sample spreadsheet or the format in which you have to upload the data, go ahead and download this from here. If you're doing this similarly for companies or deals or tickets or products, tasks, calls, you have a sample spreadsheet for all the different objects, right? So I already have the format with me. So what I am going to do is I'm going to click on next. In fact, let me do one thing. Let me quickly show you what that file looks like. So if you see that, I had already, before I started recording this video, downloaded the sample file. And if you see, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 contacts that I want to add. I have their first name, I have their last name, I have their email IDs, I also have their mobile phone numbers, and for some fun, I also have their favorite food in this. What is your favorite food, by the way? Why don't you comment and let me know of that? Coming back to the contact import file. So this is the contact file, right? I have this in my Excel and it is saved. I'm going to close it. By the way, I'm sure you remember that I had only 2 contacts which I had imported while doing the setup wizard, and there were 2 more which HubSpot had told me, right? So we had 4. Ideally now with 6 more, we should have 10. So let's go ahead and click on next. I have only 1 file, so I'm going to upload from 1 file. Click on next again. We are doing only single object. Why is it single object? Because we are only learning how to upload contacts. Got it? So we click on 1 object. Next. Which object you would like to import? We are importing for contacts. And we'll go and click next. So it says drag and drop or choose a file. So we'll go ahead, choose a file. Here is my file, and it says that it has completed the upload. And now how do you want to import the contacts? You can create and update contacts, which is, let's say if you had a name, so therefore deduplication is important in this case. If there is a name which is existing, it will go ahead and update that contact. If the contact doesn't exist, it is going to create a new one. Now, another thing that is critical to know is HubSpot, your email ID is essentially the most important aspect when you're creating any contact for HubSpot, right? That is how HubSpot basically knows that this is an existing contact or this is a new contact. So if this is Arpit Verma, I have two different email IDs, I can exist as two different contacts for HubSpot, right? We have multiple options. Obviously, we can create and update contacts. We can only create new contacts. So if you have a feeling and if not done deduplication, you could potentially tell create only contacts, right? Or you could go ahead and update existing contacts only. In this case, if there is any new contact which is encountered, HubSpot will not add that. In our case, the simplest one is create and update contacts. We are going to do this. The language of the column headers, right? So let's just quickly go and double check our language of contact headers. It is indeed English. So we are good here. We'll go ahead and click on next. And there you see all the contacts, first names, last name, email ID, favorite food, and mobile number have been mapped. Now, very interestingly, it is saying that you have one unmapped column because if you remember, I had randomly added something called as favorite food. Now, there is no property called favorite food which exists. Now, what I am going to do is I am going to tell HubSpot that you can go ahead and create this new property. So if you have an Excel where you have a data of which there is no property correspondingly which exists in HubSpot, this is how you can go ahead and simply create a property. There are multiple other ways of creating properties, which in itself is going to be a different video. But for now, we'll just go ahead and create a property called favorite food. So you came here to only upload the contact, but you also have learned how to create a property very quickly just using Excel. So we'll go ahead, review this, create the label. It's going to be a single line text, which is the field type, which essentially tells what is going to be your data type. Click on next. This property will be visible in various forms, boards, etc. Go ahead and create it. And now what you have is all your fields are checked. So you have 5 green checks. Those were the 5 fields that I had. We click on next and the import name is going to be good. I agree. I am importing these, expecting to hear from my organization. So this is very important, by the way, especially if you are in the US or in Europe, that if you are importing any sort of a contact list, that you have an explicit permission or an opt-in to be able to add these properties into your HubSpot account. Do that, you finish your import. It's going to say that your import is processing. We'll send an email when it is completed. Because we are doing a fairly small job, it should not take too much time. I've got that import is completed with 0 errors. So as you can see that the import has been completed. I have the contacts on the screen. You can see on the email that the import was completed and the contact names are visible. These are the contacts that I had added during the earlier section and now. Now at the same time, if you see some of these contacts are not visible first time you import, simply re-click on contacts. You may run into these problems, so just simply re-click again and you will see all the contacts. You will see interestingly that the phone number here has not come, for example, for Arpit, Anamika or Ankur, Niyati, Smriti, anybody. But if you remember, we had put the phone number, right? So these phone numbers, as you can see, are missing. Now, where have these phone numbers gone? We had put them in the Excel, right? So let's go ahead and quickly recheck that. I'm going to open that Excel again, right? So this is the HubSpot example, the exact file that we had uploaded. So you see the phone number was input. But if you see, the name was mobile phone number. The name of the property that we have input is mobile phone number and not phone number. What you are seeing on the contact screen is the phone number. So HubSpot has 2 different properties for phone numbers, right? There is phone number and there is mobile phone number. So how do we check that? Let's click on edit. And here, if I simply write mobile phone number and click on it, you will see an additional column gets added at the end. Now you see all the phone numbers that we had in the Excel are visible right here in front of you. You can move this, or what you can do is go into Aditya and open all the properties by clicking on view all properties and search for the property here. So mobile phone number, and you'll get the mobile number right here. You can simply go ahead and copy this number. The number formatting has not been applied, but I'll tell you how to do that in the next step. Go back, and in the contact property, on the contact page itself, simply go ahead and put the number. Now, you should always have your number formatting on. So here you can either put a +91 or simply click on the button and have the phone number with the country code. This is ideal. You should always have it. Remove number formatting should not be done. So simply do this. And once you are done with this, click on apply, and your phone number has also come. You can save it. Now, in case this is too difficult for you, you can simply, when you create the Excel, replace mobile phone number with phone number, and this will come. The reason HubSpot does this is because phone number is ideally considered to be something like a landline, and your mobile phone number is explicitly the mobile phone number. So this has been very quickly on how we could add the contacts. There are multiple different things that you could do with HubSpot. Just setting up this particular screen, which is your contact screen. We will have a video on what more can you do, especially with filtering views next. Thank you.